The coronavirus crisis has shaken the world. This pandemic crisis has put everyone into unparalleled stress and personal hardship. We need some coping mechanism to overcome the current crisis and prepare for the future. In this panel address, Shiv Khera, author, educator, business consultant, will share his knowledge and experience on the topic Turn Setbacks into Comebacks. Over to you, Mr. Khera.
Folks, greetings to all. I want to congratulate the Economic Times for taking the initiative for this HR Summit. Now, my topic is turn setbacks into comebacks. I'm sure that many people will be talking about technology. I had 3 major setbacks in my life, and I will talk about what helped me come back in my life. Now, folks, Mercedes, a client of mine, one of the senior executives said that going into the future, their competitors will not be automobile manufacturers, they will be the Googles and the Amazons. Now, with the speed of change, the way things are happening today, products are getting obsolete the day they're getting launched. And knowledge is getting obsolete within 2 to 3 years. Folks, go check out engineering graduates. By the time they get to the 4th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. Medical graduates, by the time they get to the 4th and the 5th year, what they learned in the 1st year became obsolete. So literally it has become a cliche. The only constant is change. Now, with that scenario, either we are in deep trouble or we have a great opportunity for those who are prepared. Now, folks, my big question is, how do you prepare for the unknown? We don't know what's coming. So I started thinking, and I wrote an article, which I'm sending to New York Times publication, and I wrote in, is there anything else in this world that is constant? And my answer was, going into the future, the only people who will succeed in life are those who master 3 skills that are constant. They have never changed, they will never change. And they are 1, people skills, 2, persuasion skills, 3, prioritizing skills. Now, why do I say that? People skills. 1, check out, folks, all over the world, we don't have business problems, we have people problems. And when we take care of our people problems, most of our business problems are automatically resolved. 2, all over the world, we are hired for our skills, but we are fired for our behavior. Not only as an employer and employee, but even as a consultant, even as a vendor, we are hired for our skills, but we are fired for our behavior. And this hasn't changed in 500 years or even more. And 3, you notice one thing, the lower a person is in life, 90% of the time goes in technical skills and less than 10% people skills. And higher you go up, guess what happens? It just reverses. Which means technology and technicians we can always buy with money. But the wealthiest person in the world must build and create relationships. In crude language, you might say, you can buy a dog, but you cannot make them wag their tail. Now, important thing is, as I said, technology and technicians keep changing and we can always buy with money. Now, there was a survey done by Gallup in the US, global survey, even before the crisis, which said that 63% of people who go to work, they're disengaged. Means they don't do the job. An additional 24% are actively disengaged, which means they make sure that others also don't do their job. That leaves only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Let me ask you, only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. Tell me, is this not an integrity issue? Big time integrity issue. Now, you see, I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom third division, I failed my 10th. I come from a business family in India. We had coal mines, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines got nationalized. Government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. Now, I didn't create them, I inherited them. Some families had money, our family did not. My father had died when I was in college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money. I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars, door to door. Totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And folks, that was the best thing that happened to me in my life. That was a major turning point in my life, because I learned one thing, that selling was a rejection business, and most people take the rejection personally and they get demotivated and they quit. Now, when I started selling life insurance, within 90 days, my manager called me to fire me for non-performance. Now, from this point onwards, what helped me turn around? I moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses, bought out a company out of California. In 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, why do I share this with you, folks? A very important thing. While I was selling life insurance, I was on 100% commission. I wouldn't get paid anything if I didn't sell. And I had no money to sustain myself anyway. But I saw there were some people who were getting salaries and they were not doing the job. And folks, that is the time I understood the difference between making money versus earning money. Folks, making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. What is the difference between the two? When you earn money, you put your energy and ethics behind it. And that is where I understood when they were getting salaries and they were not doing the job. I understood that wages without work amounts to stealing. And sadly, today, most people want to make money. Very few want to earn money. And that is the big, big difference. Now, very important thing. You see, folks, I could just go on the people skills. It is many, many more elements involved here. But the next component is persuasion skills. But let me go back to people skills. One more thing. You keep hearing every few years there's a new buzzword that comes up. See, earlier the buzzword was startup, startup, startup. Everybody was starting up. Then make in India, and everybody is making in India. Now the new buzzword is work from home, work from home, work from home. Now, folks, maybe in some industries like the IT, you can. And many people are doing it. But how can you work from home in a construction industry or a manufacturing industry? You can't. I had a banker visit me the other day and I asked him, work from home culture that we are talking of, is it working out all right? You are paying salaries and compensation. Are you getting the output? Can you justify the compensation? And he said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies here also. And that is that only 20% of people are mature, responsible, who can work without supervision. 80% people do need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision. And people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. So we need to understand what is coming as far as that is concerned. And one more thing which will impact our employment and the HR field will be, a few years ago, the word used to be globalization, globalization, globalization. Now the new word is localization, localization, localization. Why is that? Till now, manufacturing was 20,000 miles away from consumption. And now people have realized that a producing country can blackmail you and put you out of business in less than 5 minutes. I was totally surprised when I read that USA depends on China for 97% of pharma products. I was surprised when I read India depends on China for 81% of the antibiotics, 70% of the electronics. So a producing country can blackmail a consuming country anytime. So now people have realized that we must bring production close to consumption. And the very fact that why did you take production that far away anyway to begin with? Primarily because of labor costs. But now with automation and robotics, you can set up a manufacturing facility 50 times bigger with 1/10 of the labor. So labor costs are going to become very, very insignificant going future. So one is people skills. And two is persuasion skills. Persuasion means ability to influence, ability to convince, ability to negotiate, and ability to sell. Now, there are many people who say, I don't need persuasion skills. I'm not in sales, or I'm into IT, I'm into finance, I'm into operation. I don't need that. They are demonstrating basic ignorance of existence. They don't understand. Who is not selling? A candidate at a job interview, what's he doing? Selling, for which he needs what? Persuasion skills. A boy, girl proposing to get married, what are they doing? Proposing and persuading each other to get married. Lawyer arguing in front of the judge, what's he doing? And a politician giving speeches to get votes, what's he doing? Same thing. And what am I doing through this media, virtual media? I'm also selling an idea right now. You may buy it or may not buy it. Now, folks, and I have my book, You Can Sell, which says in life, results are rewarded, efforts are not. Which means we judge ourselves by our intentions, but the world judges us by our actions. I repeat one more time. We judge ourselves by our intentions, but the world judges us by our actions. And persuasion skills become very crucial. And the third element is prioritizing skills. Now, folks, priorities are based on values. And look at this. And there is something called right and wrong values, by the way, unlike people who say nothing's right or wrong, your thinking makes it so. I disagree with that. But anyway, let me come to this. Till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were running, all right. We had no time. We just had no time. But look at this. What a paradox. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history. And yet, we don't have time. Why don't we have time? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And folks, I'm not just here to giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. I messed up my own priorities. And whenever we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight, and if I'm not able to exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. See, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? We start talking to our lawyers. How interesting. Whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now, what this lockdown has literally done is made people take 2 steps backward and reevaluate our priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. And who are the most neglected? Also, my family. Unfortunately, the most important people become the most neglected too, which is sad, but that is true. Folks, and what this lockdown has done is literally forced people to take a step backwards and reevaluate their priorities. And till now, they were running all right. Now they are checking where they're running in the right direction. And folks, what conclusion has come out of this whole thing is that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, in life, direction is much, much more important than speed. And one important thing that has come out of this crisis is that I find that people who are emotionally strong, they're coming out stronger from this crisis. And people who are emotionally weak, they're falling apart. In fact, WHO came up with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50%. And now people have realized the importance of relationships, which is very, very crucial. And people who have good relationships in life, they have understood that biggest asset in life is not our bank balance, it is our relationship balance. And people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And now people have realized the importance of relationship and the priorities. And one more thing has come up is the difference between discretionary and non-discretionary spending. You see, we kept hearing cash is king. We never understood the true meaning of what is cash is king. Folks, now people have realized that it is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in a closet. It is better to have money in the bank than to buy a car worth $250,000. So now they have realized the difference between discretionary and non-discretionary spending here. Now, folks, very important thing is, I just want to close this program with one little thing which has helped me all through my life. You see, folks, the one comparison to a similar crisis was the Spanish flu, which you have heard enough times, but second one was the Great Depression of 1929. 15 million people became unemployed, banks failed, stock market crashed. Now, very important thing, 15 million people got unemployed. Now, studies have shown and experience has shown that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. There were some people who started their business during the Great Depression, and today they're household words. Now, I'm only going to share 3 examples of people like that. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. He started in his neighborhood a non-perishable durable goods outlet. And these 2 words are very important, non-perishable, because if they perished, it will be total loss. And durable means if they didn't sell, at least the family could use it. Because they had no money, no education, no technology, no risk-taking ability. But they had one thing, they were solution-focused people, positive people. We notice there are some people who are problem-focused. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand their problems. This is how George Jenkins started. And today, his turnover is $30 billion, and his net worth is $6 billion. And he has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store's name is Public Supermarket. Second example was 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling. They caught hold of some grapes, made wine out of it, but nobody had money to buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market. This is how they started. And today, Gallo Winery accounts for 25% of the wine trade in the US. And folks, the net worth valuations are close to $10 billion. And the third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land in Idaho, and he started cultivating potatoes. What he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat started rotting. He started freezing potatoes. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, and valuations are close to $10 to $12 billion. Now, folks, I don't want to leave my listeners with the impression that you and I start a business and all of us will become billionaires. That is not the message. Folks, the example I just shared with you, these people probably faced much bigger problem than you and I are facing today. But they had one thing, they were solution-focused people. And we all need to become solution-focused again, one more time. Now think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, there are some people who break records while others break themselves? How come? Think about it. Now, folks, all of us are going through a lot of stress. Now, all of us can handle stress, but what we cannot handle is chronic stress. And keep in mind, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress belongs into the lunatic asylum. Folks, and all stress is not bad. It is stress that makes us perform. Have you seen at the race course, the thoroughbreds, when they are being taken into the cabin, they don't walk casually. They are jumping like this. That's a thoroughbred. They're jumping because they're under very heavy stress. They are put into the cabin, and the moment they are put into the cabin, the bell rings, they run. That's a thoroughbred. But you take a jackass to the race course. This jackass walks so relaxed, cool, comfortable. He's not jumping like the thoroughbred, but then all his life he will remain a jackass. He will never perform like a thoroughbred. Remember, folks, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. And I'll just close this program with one last thing, which has helped me overcome the crisis, any crisis. That is the Serenity Prayer. Serenity Prayer. About 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were 1,000 people, I was one of them. Dr. Peale came, looked at everybody and said, you people appear so cool, comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here. Then he asked, does anybody have a problem here? So everybody raised their hand. Who doesn't have a problem? Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. Then he said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people lying down, all relaxed, comfortable. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, comfortable, relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in their pocket. And then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is the time to watch out and pray to God. Have you stopped trusting me anymore? Send me some problems. And that day he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. In my opinion, it is the crux of life. And in the past 45 years, I have never left my home without the prayer. And it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, if you analyze this little prayer and dissect it, it is a crux of life. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, the question is, can we change everything the way we want it in this world? Answer is no. Can we manipulate everything to suit ourselves? Answer is no. There are many things beyond, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do. Granted, sometimes people are born deformed. Sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. How this corona crisis come? Who knows? We don't know that. But all it says is, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Why? Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives. And we become paralyzed and we become unproductive. So it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. And if I can change, then give me the guts and courage to do it, and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched a year and a half ago in London, I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. How is life full of choices? See, if I ill-treat you, I have chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to bring good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? Now, if I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? See, life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Now, keep in mind, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Our freedom stops. Now, how is life full of compromises? As somebody said, well, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us, but what we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. Now, folks, all I can say is, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes? And people who fail, don't they do positive things? And my answer is that people who succeed in life, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. So all I can say is, folks, series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. Folks, with those words, I'll close my session, and I congratulate Economic Times for taking the initiative for this summit. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Khera, for sharing your perspective. Stay tuned for the next session.